Let's face it, we've all procrastinated hosting something because we were afraid that we would not execute it perfectly. The food wasn't going to be right. The vibe wasn't going to be right. You didn't have the right group of different people invited to make it flow seamlessly. But what if we take a step back and really think about what hosting is actually all about? I think we all can relate to wanting the connection and the community of the past. We don't sit on our neighbors' couches and enjoy a cup of coffee. We don't stop by and talk whenever we're taking a walk in our neighborhood. It's almost like we are so in our own world and our devices and our own everything that's happening around us that we have completely lost the plot. And I think a lot of it is social media's problem. We have access to everyone's homes all the time. We are constantly comparing ourselves. We're seeing what our home looks like versus whoever's next door, and we start playing the comparison game. And then we get into our own minds that, oh, our house isn't clean enough, we don't have new furniture, the kitchen is outdated. But honestly, no one really cares. No one is going around with a white glove inspecting your baseboards or your trim or your picture frames on your gallery wall to see how long it's been since they were last dusted. No one's doing that. And don't get me wrong, I think having a clean and tidy home when you do have company over is important, but it's not the end all be all. We really need to just shift our mindset as to hosting being a verb, not necessarily a noun. Hosting is making people feel connected and bringing people in and making them feel seen. And especially in this day and age, I feel like that is what we crave so much, is being seen for who we are, where we are, and what we hope to become. That is honestly more important than the food or the ambiance or any of those other things that we tend to get into our own heads about. If you're looking to host a gathering, whether that's a dinner party, a just get together with friends, a Friday night pizza where you just have everyone come over, they bring the kids, it's just a good time, and you want to know how to host without overcomplicating things, keep watching. Hi, I'm Kaylee. I am the girl behind the Simple Cozy Haven, and I'm so glad you're here for today's video. Over here on my channel, I share budget-friendly DIYs, decor, homemaking, hosting tips and tricks, a few recipes in between, and everything regarding creating a cozy life for you and your family. So if you're new here, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We really need to just change our mindset. It doesn't have to be these TikTok worthy parties. And you know, if you look up inspiration or even kids' birthday parties, if you look at that up on Pinterest, it is insane. I think we just need to travel back in time a little bit and really change our mindset of it doesn't have to be this big glamorous ordeal for it to be meaningful. And I think that's really what matters the most, is the connection and the community that you create with hosting people over in your home. But we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about how to host without overcomplicating it. So if you want to host, let's just say we're hosting a dinner party for the sake of this video. One thing I want you to do is pick a hero. I'm someone who, I love all the little details. I think it's so fun. If hosting is what is overwhelming you, whether budget wise or just like the overall concept, I highly suggest for you to just pick a hero. Not everything needs to be this big grand moment. You know, we don't need champagne towers and 100 candles lining the table. We don't need an extravagant tablescape. We just need to pick one moment that really feels intentional and can really set the vibe to the next level. This is going to be something that's extremely easy to achieve. It's not over the top, you know? So some ideas for this could be your tablescape. Maybe you do a little bit more of a simple dinner, but you do a very extravagant tablescape that's beautiful and is the moment. You could do a charcuterie board. This is one of my favorite things to do, is creating a beautiful large charcuterie board that just, it didn't take that much time, and you'd be really surprised how easy they can come together with just a little bit of work and pre-planning. But creating something beautiful like that, so when your guests come over and like that can be their appetizer, you have it on the counter and everyone can just stand around or sit, you know, maybe you put it on a table and people can just get to talking. And I think that's really something that we start to open up more with food involved. But that can kind of be like the starting point of your gathering. Or maybe if you're someone who's like really into fancy cocktails, creating a very elaborate cocktail presentation could also be fun. And you could have like all the garnishes and like a table set up, or different, like a cocktail open bar type thing where you have a few, let's just say 2 different cocktail options with the recipes, and it's kind of like a help yourself type of situation, and it just got all the little bells and whistles that just kind of makes it feel like this was really thought through. But really it doesn't take you more than maybe 20 minutes to plan, 5 minutes to execute it and put it all together. And it's just little things like that that can really make a really big impact for just a little bit of effort. If the idea of making every item from scratch or homemade is something that overwhelms you, let's say maybe you're not the best cook, and that's perfectly okay. Outsourcing and buying things is gonna be your best friend. And I would just recommend have one homemade item. Again, this could be your fancy cocktail, this could be your appetizer, you could do something very fun and pretty, you could do something very adventurous even, or even just doing your main. Like let's say you wanted to roast a chicken. Roast the chicken and then outsource the sides would really make a big difference. As our queen Ina Garden says, store-bought is fine. And one thing I like to do, if you are going to do store-bought, purchase it in advance and just kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. Add little garnishes, add a little bit more seasoning. It's something I've always found that if you just add a little bit more salt, even like a flaky salt, the Maldon flaky salt is my personal favorite. Adding that and just like little tweaks. Maybe it's a few sprigs of rosemary or some thyme on the side that you just kind of garnish the side with, or the main, or whatever it is that you are purchasing store-bought. Maybe it's a cake, for instance, and you just kind of zhuzh it up with maybe some little really pretty edible flowers, or kind of redoing the frosting. Just little touches like that can make such a big difference. Even just taking the store-bought item and putting it onto a platter or into a beautiful dish, really just that elevates it so much more, and it takes it from this wasn't purchased at Publix or wherever, it's actually homemade feeling. And that's a way to save yourself so much time and so much energy in the kitchen if that's something that does stress you out. And I get it, because if you are hosting 8 people, including yourself, that's a lot to kind of pre-plan and plan out. Whereas if you could just keep it warm in the oven, makes it so much easier. So if that's something that you need to do, absolutely, that makes the world of a difference. This is like the main topic, I feel like, the cleanliness of your home. No one is looking in your kids' bedrooms, in your kids' bathrooms, in your laundry room. They're probably not gonna go check out your closet to make sure all your hangers are perfectly arranged. And I do think that keeping a clean and tidy house is a very good habit to maintain. However, we all know what it's like to kind of like be so busy focusing on this one thing that a few things slip. And I just want you to know that no one's going to judge you. No one's going to go look in your dryer to see if there's a load of laundry waiting to be folded or things that need to be put away. No one is really looking at that. Try not to worry about that as much. We can always close doors. Odds are no one's really going to be going unless you're having like a housewarming tour and people want to see your new home, which whereas it might be a little bit different. What I like to do whenever I'm hosting people is I kind of think of what are the zones that people are going to see. So that's going to be your entryway, probably your living room, your kitchen, the dining room, any other like social area, your guest room, or your wherever guests will have to use the restroom if needed. And those are the things that I would actually focus on. So a week ahead of time, I would give myself a day, not even a whole day. You probably just need a few hours just to go in there, knock it out, do some dusting, take note of like any things that maybe you need fixed or you need to like come back and just kind of zhuzh up a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Doing all of that a week ahead of time also just gives yourself time to finish it. Let's just say you only have 20 minutes at a time. Break it up into 20-minute sections. You know, give your spaces a good wipe down, a good clean, and just don't really fret about the rest. It does not have to be perfect. And the morning of the event, I would honestly probably go clean the powder room. I would give my house a good fresh vacuum, or even outsource that to my husband or my little robot vacuum, which helps me so much. You know, kind of empty out the trash cans, make sure that's all picked up. A lot of us, we all know that we all live here. You know, it's not like that no one can know we live here. Obviously we all live here, and that's okay. You know, I think that makes you a little bit more relatable. This kind of process of doing the house a week ahead of time and then just doing a little bit of touch up the morning of keeps me from spending hours deep cleaning everything, because it doesn't matter. You want your house to be clean, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So when it comes to the day of your gathering or your party, set the atmosphere first. The ambiance of your home is really what's going to bring people in, and they're going to be like, okay, this is nice. They'll take a deep breath. Maybe they were nervous about coming over and meeting new people. So I like to kind of just set the ambiance and the mood ahead of time for everybody. That way it's just, they walk in and they just feel comforted and at home. So what I like to do is, of course, like in our kitchen, we have to have the big light on, but I like to shut off all of the big overhead lights, and I like to turn on every single one of my lamps. It might be a little excessive. I turn on the sconces in our dining room. I just really want it to feel cozy and warm, and I really do think that helps. And I always love to have a really fun playlist that I'll kind of spend some time making, put it on the TV through Spotify. That just kind of sets the mood. And then also one thing that this happened the very first time I hosted a party, and I had never thought about it before, but have a designated space for your guests to put their bags or their jackets. It's really awkward when someone comes in, they, you know, go to take off a jacket or their purse, like, I don't know where to put it. So I've installed like peg rails in my entryway, and I'll like set out some chairs or a bench, or just have a place for them. They can always go drop it on our drop zone. Going ahead and like setting that way there's no like awkward like, what do I do with this? I don't want to walk around with it, but I don't know where to put it. And along with the atmosphere is I like to make sure that my dishwasher is cleared out. It's empty, it's ready to be loaded. That way if I'm preparing a few more things or just anything needs to be thrown in the dishwasher, there's space. I don't have to like randomly just keep it in the sink if it's kind of gross. I can just throw it in the dishwasher and we can deal with it later. And making sure there's a fresh trash bag in your trash can will really help. And I like to make sure that our powder room is stocked. I've got extra toilet paper and towels. I always like to keep like a bathroom spray, you know, just, you never know. And just anything that you think your guests might need, but is kind of awkward to ask for. So really set the atmosphere first, and I promise you that's gonna make the world of a difference for your gathering. One thing I really like to do is make a signature drink. I like to opt for this instead of having like an open bar or having to make different drinks for my guests, because I might not know the exact recipe off the top of my head, but I found that having a signature drink, you can kind of create a little moment out of it again. You know, this kind of goes back to having a hero, and this doesn't have to be super fancy, but you could even pre-make your drinks if it's something that you can mix up like a cocktail and keep it chilled in the freezer until it's time to serve, but have everything kind of set out and just make it a little bit easier. And you can dress this up with garnishes and really fun cocktail glasses if that's something you like. And to kind of caveat that is not every signature drink needs to be a cocktail. You can absolutely do like a really fun like flavored tea maybe, or a mocktail version. It does not have to be alcoholic. And I always like to have a pitcher or like a drink dispenser on the counter of iced water, and this makes it easy for guests to help themselves, so that if they need it and they don't need to like flag you down, be like, I need more water please. This just kind of helps keep everyone a little bit more comfortable, and you're not having to like constantly, you know, scan the table to make sure that everyone's drinks are full. So that's just one tip that I like to offer. And I think my number one tip is to get as much done the day before as you can, whether that is preparing food, preparing drinks, because nobody wants to wake up with a to-do list a mile long on top of everything else that you have to do every day. I found really sets you up for success and really makes it feel a lot more effortless, that you're not like going, and then your guests are here and you're like, I haven't even taken a breath for the day, you know? So I like to get as much done the day before as I can. And this can even be preparing food or drinks or anything, or just like doing as much preparation as you can. That way, when it is the actual day of your party, when it is the next day, you're not like nonstop going. If you're going to have a really pretty tablescape, go ahead and set your table. Get it ready. Don't light your candles yet, but have everything ready. Know where your lighter is. That way, when it is time to sit down at the table, you can light the candles and it'll be beautiful. This will give you time to kind of tweak things. If you look at it, you're like, that actually does not look okay. You can move things around, create your flower arrangements if that's something that you wanted to do, or I mean, maybe you're making a balloon arch. Do that ahead of time too, or a banner or anything. And another thing, if I am going to be kind of, if we're gonna do like a buffet style, or if I just know that I'm gonna put certain things in certain dishes, I like to go ahead and get those dishes out and use a sticky note and write down what it is. Maybe it's mashed potatoes, green beans, this will be the rolls, or you know, what have you. All of my glasses, I'll make sure that they're nice and clean, really setting yourself up for success. So now it is the day of your party, the day of your gathering, and you are getting everything finished. One of my biggest tips for this day is to stop. Go ahead and get yourself ready. Make sure your outfit's nice, your hair, your makeup's touched up, but I want you to make sure that you have 1 hour before your guests arrive to sit down and calm down. This way, you know, if there is any last minute things, you can get that done, but plan to have that 1 hour to just catch your breath and get your mind into the atmosphere of your party. And again, this is when you'll go turn off your big light, turn on your lamps and all of that, light a candle if that's what you're gonna do, or turn on a diffuser. And I really found that that has helped me so much. It is a lot when you are trying to make all of these different things come together for all these different people. It's a lot. Get ready to enjoy yourself, because you're about to have a great time. You're about to have a great get together with your friends or your family. That's really what it's all about, is creating that community that we all desperately want. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many years that my husband and I, like, we prayed to have friends like we do now, and we feel so blessed to have the community and the friendships that we do. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I think it's better if it's not perfect, because if something happens, let's say I don't know, something crazy off the wall happens, you guys will laugh about it forever and you'll always kind of have like that inside joke. That is what is the most important part about hosting and hospitality, is bringing people in, meeting them where they are, seeing them for where they are, and encouraging them to go where they dream to go. But those are just my tips to hosting without overcomplicating it all, because it doesn't have to be that complicated. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a heart emoji in the comments below if you're still here and watching. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys today and chatting all things hosting, and I hope that you enjoyed these tips, and let me know if you implement them into your next get together or party. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll chat very soon. Bye y'all.